Hey guys, this is Nate and this is the Nader Tater channel. Guys, I just got in this 5G T-Mobile home internet router and modem. So this picks up 5G signal and 4G signal, and I put it to test. I already did the 4G version of this earlier, and I have a video up on that. But now this is the latest and greatest. I go through the setup with it, unboxing it. I go through getting the signal tested throughout my house. I tell you what kind of speed I get. I go through extra efforts to try to get the best speed. I climb up on my roof. I drive out to local towers. I show all that in here, and then I talk about the actual web interface, what settings you can and cannot change, and whether or not you should get it. So stay tuned, and I'll tell you all about it. I just got the 5G one in the box. They just started rolling this out at the start of 2021, and obviously it uses their 5G network as well as T-Mobile merged with Sprint, so this also uses the Sprint towers, and they're obviously trying to expand this out. They say like 100 million people are able to access their 5G right now, and by end of the year, I think they're going to double that. So a big part of the U.S. will have this 5G service. So let's open up this box, see what it does, and I'm going to compare it back to my 4G LTE one, which got some impressive speeds there. But let's see how this 5G one fares and how it compares. Okay, so here's what they give you in the box. They give you, this is the gateway. People online call this the gray trash can. Looks like one of those little mini stainless steel trash cans. You get a power adapter, and you get an Ethernet cable, and then you get some instructions here. Now the 4G LTE one is the older one, and that looks like a white rectangle. It almost looks kind of like this. It's about what size it is. So that one can only do 4G, and I guess 3G actually as well. But this one can now do all those different channels, and does multiple towers, so more bands. And so like the T-Mobile band is like an N71 band, and you can look this up on like Cell Mapper and try to get an idea of what signal you get. I did look on T-Mobile's website for my house, and they say I had excellent 4G LTE. That was not the case. I got somewhere between fair and good, or I think they call it weak and good. For 5G, they tell me I have fair signal quality online, but I'm going to plug it in and find out what I really get with it. I wouldn't trust their online coverage map to tell you. It really is going to vary with your house, what location it's at, how easy it is. If you have line of sight to your towers, then you might be able to get miles away. If you don't, then you might not get good service. So you'll have to test it out yourself. But let me just plug this in and get it set up. Okay, so this setup's actually a little bit easier. It already has there is a built-in battery to this. Now online I heard that on this new one it cuts off Wi-Fi, but my old one definitely did not cut off Wi-Fi, so I could go around the alright, so I plugged it in, press the on button. I think it's got a screen on the top of it. It does. So it has a little screen, an LCD screen on the very top of it that gives you some information, which is kind of neat. I'm going to load this up here and have it set up where it's Ethernet connected to my computer, so I have that if I need it. But I'm going to use the app. So they have a T-Mobile home internet app that's different than the T-Mobile, standard app that you might have if you already have a T-Mobile phone. This one is specific to home internet. Okay, I see what it's doing. Let me show you. So it came up with a thing that said English or Spanish, but now it's actually doing a software upgrade. So it's obviously connected to the network, the T-Mobile network, and it's doing an upgrade. So that's why I can't connect. I was confused what it's doing. It's not letting me connect. The white one had no problem booting up and connecting right away, but this one obviously is doing an update. So this is kind of a cool, it went to sleep, but you touch it and it shows you what it does. So I guess while it's doing that, let me pick it up and kind of show you the back side of it here. So you can see it has two Ethernet ports. It's got a telephone port that's plugged It's got a USB port, and then it has a UPS port and an on-off switch. Now, there's some guys that have taken these apart on Facebook. There's a Facebook group for T-Mobile Home Internet. So thanks to all those people on that Facebook group, and they've actually taken this apart. It's not that hard. You're able to take out these Torx screws down here, and then this gray case pops off. That's where you can see there's kind of there's 4 signals that are kind of spaced throughout, or not signals, 4 antennas to pick up the signal from different directions, and then there's a Wi-Fi antenna, and you can actually, on these, you can pop that cable for each of those antennas off, and you can plug in an external antenna. It's obviously not approved by T-Mobile, but it's non-destructive. So I think it's a UFL connector, and you can plug that in, and then you can run your own external antenna if you really needed to. But let me have this guy finish doing its little update. It's obviously not the quickest, and then we'll get it set up. All right, so it took about 10 minutes for it to update, and then the screen changed, and it has the T-Mobile logo, and it says download the T-Mobile app. Now, the instructions don't say anything about the update, but obviously it does it automatically. As soon as it connects to the tower, it's going to start that. So I guess to be prepared, I was kind of excited, ready to open it up, and I had to sit back and wait 10 minutes for it to do that thing. But it does show you that at the top of the screen there. So now I'll go open my T-Mobile Home Internet app. So now it should be checking to make sure I'm connected. It's got it. All right, so this is fun. I get to open up some instructions here. All right, so let's let this thing take a picture. So that's kind of nice that it goes ahead and well, it's going to let me update it. Okay, so I'll skip that. So I'll leave it as the default for now, and I'll leave it as the default login. I'll go and change that after you guys aren't watching me. All right, so it says my signal strength is poor. So, this says, put it up high on the second floor, put it on a shelf. Don't put it close to microwaves and refrigerators and whatnot. And so I'm just going to tell it that I found the spot. Yeah, so I'm going to skip finding a spot right now. I'm just going to leave it right now. Finish it. And I can see what my cell tower metrics are down here in the office. So I see I have a minus 83. That's kind of the signal quality. I can see I'm on B12, which is not a good one to be on. And then, so I'll have to move this thing around and see where I can put it. But let me put it up here. I know last time I had my my 4G one just kind of sitting up here, and I got reasonable speed out of it. So let me go and do a quick speed test with it down here in the office just to see where we're at. So not very impressive. So out of the box, nothing to be very happy with. This is actually significantly worse than my 4G one. So my 4G one got about 25 megabits per second down and about 5 megabits per second up at this exact same location. But some of this might be because it's connected to that B12 band, and you really want it to be on the B41 or N71 bands. Those are the 5G bands. So let me try to move this thing around and see if I can find where it goes. One thing of note, and a lot of people don't realize this, but there is a battery in this one. just like the older white one, but this one does not leave the Wi-Fi on when you unplug it from the wall. So the unit stays on, and you can keep tapping the top of it to see what the signal is. All right, this isn't recommended, but I'm up on top of my roof, and it's a 2-story house, but really has a steep roof. So this is really a 3rd floor. It's actually a 3rd floor loft right there, and you can see my my TV antenna mast. So one option is I could put a antenna for this out here. So I brought this out here just to see what kind of service I can get on my roof. This is the best I can do with this thing for sure. So it's out here. I have power that I carried it up, and now I know the tower is that way, and you can kind of tell there's a ridge between me and the tower, so that's what's blocking some of my signal. But I'm gonna see, this is as high as I can get. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, so I got desperate. I wanted to make sure this gateway actually works and what the speed's like. So I actually drove out to the nearest tower. Now this is 4G still, so it's not a 5G signal, but right here you can see it's full bars, and you can see I cheated there. Those lights out there, the red light, that is the tower. It is, I don't know the measurement, but it's probably less than 1,000 feet away. So this would be, you know, best case scenario here. But I ran those speeds, and it's impressive. It does 100 megabits per second download and upload. And now it varies a little bit. If you watch the actual trace, you know, it might drop down in 50, 60, 30 range, but certainly has the capability to go there. And now this is 5G capable, so I'm going to try to get it locked onto a 5G band and let that that run a speed test to see how it does. As you can see, I tried my best to get a good signal with this guy throughout the house, up on the roof, and then actually driving to the tower. And so it does give some impressive speeds when you're connected. You know, there's a Facebook group, I think called T-Mobile Home Internet, but there's guys on there that are reporting out easily 100 megabits per second down and up. Some people are seeing 200, 300, even over 400 megabits per second download sometimes. So the capability is definitely there. And for me, obviously I don't have it here, and it was weird because it wasn't connecting to the B66 band, which was my best 4G band that I had with the other white router. So I actually called T-Mobile today, their tech support, and said, hey guys, what's going on? I have a tower that's 1 mile away from me, doesn't seem to work. I actually drove straight to that tower and have this plugged into my car, you know, power adapter, and it didn't connect to that tower at all. So I confirmed with T-Mobile that tower is actually being upgraded right now to 5G, so they have it off. So that explained a lot to me why this one isn't down. So you know, T-Mobile is obviously rolling out 5G across the nation right now, and I'm just unlucky that the tower that's close to me, so it's connecting to a tower that's miles away, north of here, and that's why it gets such crappy speed. So they told me that it's going to be online in about 2 weeks. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to hang on to this gateway, and I'm going to test it out in a couple weeks when that comes on. If it doesn't, you know, give me the speed I think it should, then I'll have to return and stick with my AT&T DSL. So my uncle, he lives further south in Michigan, closer to the Ohio border, but he actually got the same T-Mobile service that I just got with this 5G gateway. And so he did that based off my experience with the 4G setup, where I was actually getting some good speeds. And he doesn't have any good internet options out there either, as far as, you know, cable or you know, high-speed DSL. So he's been working off a hotspot mostly. So he got this, and he is able to connect to 5G, and he gets about 100 megabits per second download. And his upload varies, you know, might be as low as 5, but has been as high as about 50 megabits per second. So pretty good speeds, and certainly way better than he's been able to get in the past. So it does have a lot of promise. and you really have to test it out for yourself. You know, their T-Mobile's website and their coverage map is not accurate. Even cellmapper.com that tells you stuff, it's not accurate because it's not up to date. T-Mobile is rolling out this 5G so quickly that you really just need to sign up for it. If you don't have any other options, if you have cable, if you have Xfinity and Spectrum or any of these cable services, and you are just trying to save money, it's probably not the right thing for you. If you have no other option, you have super slow DSL, or you're using satellite or hotspots, definitely give it a try because it's probably going to be a lot better than those other options. But it's not going to be as consistent and reliable speed-wise versus some wired solution, be it a high-speed DSL, high-speed cable, fiber, any of those options. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to take a look at it. You know what this is. This is a Nokia Fast Mile rebranded gateway. And now, unfortunately, T-Mobile has done a lot of things to make it worse, in my opinion. And namely, that's the software interface, both for the app. The app for T-Mobile Home Internet clearly wasn't designed for this new router. It works reasonably well with the old 4G white box one. This new one, it's flaky. Even this gateway itself, I've had issues where it will reset itself to factory defaults when you turn it off, and not like unplugging it. I mean, it has a battery that's supposed to back up, but even so, when you unplug the power, it turns off and restarts, which doesn't make any sense to me when it has the battery backup. And also, the battery doesn't let you actually do anything with it other than look at the top of it and you can see what the signal is. It turns off the Wi-Fi and it turns off the Ethernet port. So it's not really a battery backup so much as it's just letting you move it around your house to see if you get better signal. But you know, obviously this bar, the 2 to 5 bar signal strength, doesn't tell you a whole lot because you can have the same number of bars showing up but actually get much better speed, all based off the signal to noise ratio and other things. So that's not very good. Let me go into the web interface and kind of show you what the options are in there. It also has less options than the old 4G gateway that they had, and so this one doesn't allow you to do a lot of setting features. So let me hop on my computer, I'll log in, I'll show that to you so you can see it live here in action. So now I'm on my computer and I just logged in. The address is 192.168.12.1. Most of them aren't the 12.1, but this one is, so something to note there. You log in, there is no password. If you're already connected to its Wi-Fi, it lets you see this main page and lets you see the information here. You can see your primary signal and a secondary signal, so it's able to do you know, aggregation and add a 5G and a 4G together to help give you even expanded speed. You can see with me, I have really crappy signal right now. It's you know, 2 bars out of 5. You can see this RSRP is minus 115. The signal to noise is bad, it's -1, and RSSI is minus 77. So those are not great numbers, and that's why I get terrible speed. So it tells you your devices that are, or how many devices are connected, should I say. But then over here on the side, you can go to status and you can just look and see how much data you've used. I obviously haven't used hardly any data because I've just been trying to get the speed connected to it. And then this will tell you as well, if you expand the cellular network part, it will tell you what band you're on. So now it's telling me that I'm on band B66, which is a good 4G band. And so, you know, just for it hasn't been wanting to go on the B66, so I'm just going to go ahead and test the speed real fast while I know it's connected to that and just see what it tells me. But I have not been impressed with my speed on here yet to date. Okay, so this is actually reasonable. So this is about similar to what I was getting down here in this room with my 4G one. I was getting about 25 to 30 megabits per second download. You know, 44 ping isn't terrible. It's actually similar to what I give the DSL. So my upload's lacking a little bit. It's 3. Okay, But so that's interesting, because this is actually the first time I've actually got it to get on to B66 and stay there so I could test it. So, that's a reasonable speed, and probably most people would be happy with that. But it's not the 5G numbers that I really want. So anyways, that is that. You can see the secondary signal. I don't have one. And then it'll tell you what your IP v6 is. That's your WAN number. And then obviously just some stuff here about your Wi-Fi. You can see what channel it's on. So I go over to statistics. It's just telling you data that's sent and received, and this must just be from when you've powered it up last. That's also why the data uses were so low, because I've sent more than that. So this must just be logging from last time it was turned on. So that's those pages, and then let's go over to the network. And if you go to your network, now we have to actually type in the password, and this is where you can set up. So this is on the 2.4 gigahertz, but you can go there and have it go to a specific protocol type and your bandwidth, and you can tell it, you can pick a channel or have it do it automatically. And then here you can actually turn up and down the transmission power. So the other thing that, and then obviously you can change the SSID. So on this one, it does have Wi-Fi 6, which is the latest and best protocol out there, and by default it has the SSID as the same for all the channels, and then your device would automatically pick. It'll do the band steering and it'll pick which one to connect to based off the signal quality. What I will say is that this Wi-Fi is actually pretty good as far as the range. I haven't really been able to test the speed because I haven't got the internet speed up on it to where I can really test the speed, but the range is really impressive. I'll give it that, and this seems to be certainly way better than the old 4G box, which was really worthless. It had very bad range, and I don't think anyone would be able to get the range they wanted out of that one in their house. But this one, easily, this floor is it's a 2,500 square foot footprint. Easily goes to the other side of that and reaches outside. So that's a nice feature of it. And now the Nokia, the FastMile, they support their mesh setup. I'm not sure if you could take a Nokia mesh system and add it to this. Probably not, but technically, this hardware would support that. But I think it would need different software. It would need the Nokia firmware. So here's the 5G. It's the same settings pretty much as the 2.4 gigahertz, and that's all there is to this. So in here in the system, it's just reboot, factory reset, do a firmware upgrade, and change the password. So the settings are definitely lacking. That's probably my biggest complaint. There's no DHCP server on off. There's definitely no DMZ. There's no port forwarding. There's no even firewall on off. So hopefully that's something they're planning on adding with updates. Obviously when I got it, the first thing it did was an update. So I'm hoping that kind of stuff is coming. I really do commend T-Mobile for trying this out, rolling it out, and being one of the beta testers. And I hope they continue to improve, because it has a lot of promise. Certainly in the areas where they have good signal, this thing is impressive type of speed for people that have never been able to get that. So I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to stick it out here for another several weeks, see if they turn my tower on. That tower's only a mile away. And if they do, and that's 5G, and this thing picks that up, I should be blazing fast. So I'm pretty excited. The other thing I wanted to put out on this is some people online have complained that they can't connect to their work VPN. And that certainly would be an issue for a lot of people who are doing work from home stuff. So I did test it with me. My company uses Cisco AnyConnect, and it works. I didn't dive into it too much, but I did notice on my VPN that it's doing the IPv6, not IPv4. And I think this one doesn't support IPv4, and that might be the issue with some of these other VPNs. it's something to certainly make note of, and you might need to check that before you get too excited. Is make sure that your VPN does work with this modem. Okay, well, I appreciate all you guys joining me. Stay tuned for more videos because, like I said, I'm sticking around with this gateway until they turn that tower on, and I'm gonna see if my speeds finally start to pick up or not.